everybody. Welcome to this kind of impromptu episode of the Beer Chasers. So we just finished our quadruple blind taste test where Westvleteren was the winner. But we figured we had some Westie 12, we still had some Saint Bernardus 12, so let's kind of look at them face to face and kind of see what's going on with them.
Yeah.
So I think without further ado, let's go ahead and look at that. So we look at the appearance of the two. So we have the Westvleteren and the Saint Bernardus. I mean, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but they are pretty damn close.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Westie's just a little darker.
I think the Westie's a lot darker, at least in my glasses here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe not a lot, but I mean, it's definitely...
It's noticeably darker,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely the Westvleteren is definitely darker than the Bernardus. But I think the Bernardus has more of a ruby aspect compared to the Westvleteren.
I think like the head on them, yours has died down a little bit, but mine and Will's, they're spot on. I mean, they're totally spot on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's some lore to these beers, is that they're kind of the same beers. One was contract brewing, then they lost the contract, or I think it had something to do with losing the Trappist monk symbol, or they couldn't no longer use the monk symbol, so they kind of split. And from what I read, it's literally supposed to be the same beer. It's just the brewing process is a little different. You know, one might pitch their yeast lower, raise higher, or something like that. So you know, that's probably why these are very similar.
Right. Yeah. And in the craft beer world, these are essentially almost identical. So that's what I was told. That's what you were told, and well, that was probably what you've heard too.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how these kind of compare up, face to face.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do the smell.
All right.
So we got the Westie first. Again, real bready. You know,
Yeah.
You get the raisiny kind of plum.
A lot of dried fruit. Oh, maybe a little fig too.
A little raisin.
Raisin, yeah.
Cool. And now we got the Bernardus. Which again, very similar, but not as
fruity.
not as strong.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as malty.
More bready, less fruity.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot more of a biscuit bready note. I'm not getting really any fruit.
I know.
For me.
Definitely.
Just it really just smells like just a regular.
You almost smell a little. I would say a little more bitter. You kind of smell like the hops in it, and not that it's like an IPA kind of hop.
No, but
citrusy, but you definitely smell like a bitterness to it.
Yeah.
A little dryness.
Well, let's go ahead and taste them side by side. So, cheers.
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 Cheers to you.
Cheers.
West again, very malty, bready.
Right.
The Bernardus. It's close, but this one to me has a little more bitterness again, like in the smell. It's not quite as malty. They're definitely very close. I mean, they're definitely related in the same family.
There's definitely a lot of commonality between them. But like you said, I think the biggest difference is the Saint Bernardus has more of a present hop character than the Westvleteren.
Now, to be fair, this Westvleteren bottle we have is aged, whereas the Saint Bernardus probably doesn't have the same aging. So maybe the hops have died in this one a little bit, and that's why we're not.
Right. That was what would happen when a beer is aged. That the hop dryness presence would diminish. You get more of a malt character. So maybe that's why it is. Probably, but as we see it here, that Saint Bernardus is not hoppy, but a little bit more drier.
Yeah, it's definitely a little thinner. It's not quite as
and the mouth
sweet
feels
and
thinner,
sticky as this one is.
I'm not getting as much fruit from the Bernardus.
Yeah.
You know? Very different in that regard.
So we kind of just started touching on the mouthfeel a little bit.
Right.
So I think the Bernardus is a little thinner.
Thinner, drier. It feels lesser bodied, even though they're about the same, but it just feels it.
Yeah, it's not, as the monks would call it, digestible.
Yeah.
It's digestibility. Well, I mean, overall, so, you know, you're kind of looking at them side by side, and again, we have to take the age into consideration.
Right.
What do you think? I mean, is it, at this point, which one's better?
I mean, my answer is to be kind of jaded. I think the Westvleteren is better just because you get more of a fruit aspect. Whether that's due to aging or whatever, probably, but I like it here now, more so than the Saint Bernardus.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the Westie 12 is definitely better, but now we kind of take into the beer chasing aspect. The Bernardus is still great. I think it's a great beer.
Right.
And it's much more accessible than this one. So.
Right. I mean, assuming the aging is a factor in this, and you can age the Saint Bernardus the same amount of time, and if you can get the same character, I think the Saint Bernardus wins just because it's so readily available.
Yeah, and I imagine it'd be pretty close. What do you think, Will?
Oh man, they're so good. I mean, it's kind of splitting hairs, you know. It's like you're taking some of the best beers here in the world and comparing them to, and you know, on any other day, if you've never had a Westie, Bernardus, it could very well be the best quality you've ever had in your life.
Right.
And if you don't know that the other one has the fruit characters and you know it has been aged a while, so you know obviously it's a little different, but you know you wouldn't even miss it really. I mean, when you drink the Bernardus, it's so good, and it is heavy. I mean, if you drink a lot of these, you're gonna feel it. So
Yeah, we're feeling it. I mean, believe me, we're feeling it.
But the Westie is just you can tell there's a certain quality to the Westie that makes it better, and maybe to me it's the fruit. Maybe the fact that it's less bitter, a little less bitter, not as much hop there like you guys mentioned. But you know, as far as you know the head goes, I mean they're very similar in look and stuff. I mean it's just a slight. Westie's a slight bit dark, but man, it's the Westie wins.
It's hard, yeah.
So I think we're all saying at the end of the day, we'll wrap it up. The Westie is better. But it's still hard for us to say because this one is aged. And I think it's been near impossible for us to get a Bernardus and a Westie aged at the same time, seeing how hard the Westie has to get.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, I'm not saying the results are invalid, but, you know, I guess take it for what you will. But
I think both are equally enough to where the Saint Bernardus will still be just as good as a Westvleteren.
I'd like to age one of these now a couple of years. I mean, I
yeah.
might grab one for the cellar here and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great idea.
Either's a good pick, though.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up. A little impromptu session here. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Preston. This is Mike. This is Will. We're the Beer Chasers. See you later.
Beer is good, beer is good, beer is good. And stop. Beer is good, beer is good, beer is good. Let's go drink some beer. Dude,